Alright, it's another video from the Voice Sports Club. You got Myth, you got Kaichou,
Hey again, guys.
and you got Jerry.
Hello.
And we're back at it again with Game 3 of our Kaguya-2 matchup. This one featuring Kaichou's Standby Gate, and this is, I believe, Jerry's 8 Gate? I forget off the top of my head. It's either the 8 Gate or it's the 8 Pants. It's a 50-50.
It's how you define eight gate, because gate is actually pants, but
I'm going to keep it ambiguous. Either way, I was correct. But
this is the this should be the eight arc, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let it get started, and then we'll kind of go ahead and talk about kind of what this stuff was about. So Kaichou, you were rocking old reliable, essentially, good old 6 standby 2 gates. Nothing too crazy has changed. You do have the Hayasaka Riki now to help replace the Chica, which was put on the ban list. But what are some of the other set 2 cards if you put many other ones in your deck to help support the playstyle, basically?
Yes, I played the Arisu, or Toka, or Cowgirl, whatever you want to call it. I played that just for some more hand filter because I realized that's what it was lacking in the first build. Also, when I first played this for WGP, I played just using 1-1s instead of playing the actual combo. So that was something I also wanted to try out. With the 1-1s, I guess the Odyssey would be more useful, but I think with the combo, the Odyssey is fine too. The one big card we got, aside from the Riki, is the 3-2 Hayasaka Changer. That allows you to play any card from your hand during your climax phase. So if you stand by out of 2, it's basically you're playing any level 3 in your hand. So yeah, those cards are the big ones that are being added to the deck.
And like I said, we were playing the 8 door, or rather 8 pants this time around on Jerry's side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we saw in game 1 Kaichou's version of the list, but what are some of the differences in how you built this list compared to what Kaichou did? Because we were talking about it a little bit in the intro video, where Kaichou plays, I believe, a little bit less Bonders. So there's, or maybe I have it a little bit mixed up here, but if you want to go ahead and talk about your list a little bit, any differences?
And this list here, I think I only played one Bonder here, which is the Ishigami Bonder that bonds to the 2-1 Musashi event here. Everything else I just played no Bonders at all, I believe. Looking at the list now, I think over here is that we just forgo the Bonders to add more other cards. In this case, so we're just mostly relying on the level 0 Hestia Kaguya, in which to grab our events, the grants we need, or the Chica draw pitch, just the way of grabbing the events we need. But yeah, this list does have much room to what I want to put, to what I would like to put in. Even cutting like 1 or 2 Bonders here, just cause like this list is super like heavily it's just locked in general. Like Bushi just wants us to build this list as it is. Like the moment the cards come out, like, oh, this card is going into the deck, no questions asked. And in that mindset, they're kind of right. It's kind of hard to cut anything here, just because you need all these cards just to have, just to fulfill your level 3 condition, and you can't exactly cut it down to 1 either, because you'll never see them. You can't run too much of it because they don't necessarily replace themselves, like just like how events replace themselves in Danmachi, which is why Danmachi is just the better event deck.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It's pretty compact. There's like maybe less than 10 slots maybe that you can commit that's not really already contributing to the game plan. Basically, it's like no tech choice space.
Space is tight. The only tech choice we played is 1 stock swap. But even I thought, I'm even thinking back now, I think that might have been a mistake because this list burns through so much stock.
Yep, you're just getting ready to set up a nice little double combo. You have the pants support in the back row set up just in case. But yeah, nice little easy turn.
Jerry, what's your event lineup?
Event lineup is I played obviously played the for Torch, two Musashis, three of the Ino events, and two of the sword events, I believe. Yeah, it's two
Okay,
sword events.
yeah, so that's similar to what I was playing. What are your thoughts on any ratio changes? Yeah, after playing the game.
After playing the game, we definitely want to bump the 2-1 Musashi up because since we were relying too much on our level 3 Kaguya as our finisher, there are very common instances where you don't actually get all 4 events in your memory. So uh, having the Musashi event, which turns basically any of your playable characters into the Musashi itself, is actually a nice alternative to not a nice alternative to a finisher in the case that you don't have your setup. And also, Hexproof is just broken.
Yep, that is the one big thing about the event. And so you talked about how you played pan support. I don't play pan support because I didn't think that we would need it. What are your thoughts on pan support?
Uh, Head support is fine. I initially put it in just because since we are playing an event deck and not all events replace themselves. They technically do replace themselves. It's just that I sometimes don't want to pay the one stock for, so I'd rather just look through cards to see if I can grab a playable. But since it looks only the top 2 cards, uh, not much selectivity here. So in this case, I probably would replace that with something else, like that other set 2 card in that we have here, the Hayasaka, the level 1 Hayasaka, that acts all very similar to the Cuckoo in Superstars. Where
No, but it's similar to the Kirito from 10th Annie.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not your
yeah,
pants to sandwiches. Yeah.
yeah. But then in the terms of climax fixing, it works very similar because it's on attack. It give everyone the ability to
Yeah,
fix.
yeah.
Yeah,
You not play that in your deck or in
I
this variant?
did. Not in this variant.
Okay.
Yeah, not in this variant. Although if looking back on it now, it's probably the better choice.
Yeah,
Just because
just
it's
being
on
a like target
color.
select. Yeah.
Yeah,
Target
target
selection.
select and it's on color.
Yep. And then going into level 1 here, it looks like Kaichou, you're about to set up a pretty good response with a potential double Kaguya. I see you have the.
Yeah, so the problem with double combo is I didn't have enough power to get over the Kaguyas because the Kaguyas are 6-5 when you play an event, he has back row, so they're 7k. My Kaguyas are 5k, level assist to 5-5, and then I can balance to be 7-5. Without level assist, I'll be 7k, so I'll tie with him. So at this point, I'm just trying to decide whether I want like combo or like maybe like level assist. But because I don't have a second Hayasaka, I can't kill both his lanes, so I either get a second combo or I get a second Hayasaka, which the second Hayasaka doesn't actually do anything. So at this point, I just opted to get the combo and then get a free mark out of my deck. So because I can't just kill it.
And then something that we kind of know from the old 6 pants or 6 standby 2 gate a build is that the old level 2 target was Ishigami. Uh, what are some of the newer options that came out in Kaguya 2 that helps you during this level 1 when you're just jamming out the standby? Is there any like notable ones that or you're playing, or is it basically just bounce back and throw another Ishigami in the back?
Yeah, the targets aren't really. So in the old in the first set, we had Tutu Hayasaka, which is vanilla 11k. We had Ishigami, which is 10k with hand encore. We had the Tutu Chika that people like to play. It's like 10k. You have 2 more others, and then it has on play. You can ditch one of both players refresh. I don't play that card. I just opted to play 3 with the new combo because I am playing this 2 standbys. The Miyuki 2-2 is 10k, which I thought was fine, and if I just focus on trying to get the climax, and then play for the climax combo of the 2-2 and get a 3-2 out, I think that was probably okay. And like just swing with the 2-2 10k is like not the worst thing.
Ooh, bit unfortunate on those first 2 on the torch, but still all good cancels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. So something that, since I haven't played Denmachi, but I've played a little bit of Goblin Slayer. What's kind of the main difference between Kaguya using the torches as opposed to say like Denmachi, where there's so much recursion that you can kind of just use it to get whatever cards you want, as opposed to like Kaguya, where we talked a little bit about it when Kaichou was playing it. It's a lot more about like kind of you have to torch to sculpt precisely the cards you want, and then use the draw ditch to help auto adjust a little more. Is it like a little bit trickier to play the torch in this list, or is it like you just rip it when you can, essentially?
I'd say I'd say playing torch in Kaguya is a lot more important. The way how you torch is very important, because it's not like Danmachi where like so the one thing that makes Danmachi very good in this case is that the bell, obviously you grab your torches, right? But the one thing that what Bell is able to do is just get over your opponent's board, no questions asked, as long as you have firebolts in your waiting room. So if anything, you could be hyper aggressive with Danmachi a lot more than you can be with Kaguya. Since Kaguya doesn't necessarily run over everything, however, you trade that offensive power for a little bit of defensive power, because it does gain power if you play an event. But it's still sometimes it's just not good enough in this case, especially against standby in this case here, because all he needs to do is just bring out that 2/2. Maybe if he just feels a 2/2 at level 2, I start to fall off from there. So unlike in this here, so you kind of just have to pay attention to how many climaxes you're out. You kind of also have to torch very defensively. So you kind of have to really like read your deck state and see how well it is for you to torch. At least that's how I think in this case, just because like since standby is is a deck that I struggle with this deck, so just having just knowing to torch defensively well is lets you stay in the game a little bit longer.
And then Kaichou, kind of throwing it back over to you. We talked a little bit about it back during game one, but like as the standby matchup against a torch, is there anything that you're like particularly like focused on? Is it just like, oh, he used torch, that means he has one in his waiting room and I'm gonna be chilling? Or are you like actually thinking about what his deck is every time you attack and have to decide how to play around the torches, essentially?
Yeah, so if I was playing the 1/1 version of the deck, I actually just don't care what he does, because my card is just bigger anyways. But with the combo version, as if you don't have like power pumps, your cards are really small, and if he somehow scales my 2/2, I can't encore back because it does have encore. But knowing the matchup, the Kaguya only gets up to 9k if you play the 1/1 Miko event, at most, and then 9.5 if you have back row, so he can't scale over 10k unless he somehow plays like a Chikoriki, maybe another 1/1 event, or maybe he has like 2 copies of the sword. So just in terms of like power level, Kaguya is better on the defense, but on offense, I know that he won't be able to deal with my cards, so I'm just like chilling as long as I have 2/2s. And as you see throughout the game, the standby starts to kick in, like the 6 standby, and then eventually he won't be able to like kill anything. And then if he has to crash, which means the torches in his hand are unplayable, and then if he sides, then I just take less damage. So it's more of like a scaling matchup for this deck.
Yeah, I kind of understand that a little bit. It's kind of like it's a bit of an arms race of who gets the better development between the torches as opposed to the standby, because once standby kind of gets rolling, as it tends to do with most standby matchups in general, you get to a point where you actually can't do anything, and then you're just swing 3 chumps into these like 10k walls, and you can't do too much. And in the case of this 8 pants build, those torches, like you said, are dead, so the only way you're using them is on offense. Otherwise, you kind of don't get too much value out of it. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times torching on offense is just like better. The only time it matters is like you're out like 8, right? Usually you don't, the gamble of like torching on defense to maybe get a cancel is like not worth the risk of you like milling a climax and then like just eating more damage in the long game.
So then, going into this kind of close to level 2 turn between the two of you is looks like we're gonna have. Is it possible for you to do the Miyuki combo here? I don't remember if you.
Yeah, I climax up into it.
Yeah.
Because I searched climax comp or climax up last turn. So yeah, I'll have 2 2/2s because I'm still at 1. The cancel on 4 there was pretty huge. And then at this point, I just gotta swing 3, and there's really not much to do, honestly.
Just classic turn the brain off, get some big bodies, and then Jerry, kind of going into your turn, knowing that there's going to be a bit of a wall for you to come up against. Do you have any like counterplay to these? Do you have any like power pumps or any slayers or early plays that you're kind of banking on at this point to help you break through the walls so that you don't just outright lose 3 characters?
To be completely honest, I don't have much play against standby, just cause like the deck is already tight on space. There's not much else to put in.
Yeah.
So against standby, I kind of just rely on trying to grab. I was either trying to grab the Eno so I can pump more power to my targets, or at least pump into my early plays if I ever grab into them. Or at this point, I just swing 3, or just crash into his board and make sure it just hopes that he eats damage at this point. Just because like I don't have that many answers to this, these 2 big boards. So in this case, I'm just trying to make sure it just eats damage here, while also trying to make sure we don't eat too much damage ourselves.
Yep. So kind of going in, you're gonna go ahead and whip out a torch, grab a level 1 combo, potentially go for some recursion. Nice little cancel there.
Yeah.
But standby trigger on the last attack is a little bit scary, but not much you can do to stop that.
Scary but expected. Just because he is playing
Playing the 6th. Yeah, at this point I have 3 2/2, so like my next like 3 turns are pretty much set. Since the deck can't really kill these 10k walls. Or 11k's and 2 lanes at 10 and 1.
Nice little double cancel here though at the end to help make sure that you do stay pretty low level 2, so you do have the opportunity to crash into this board without being too caught out in damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know.
Yeah, at this point, we're like I said, just trying to make sure we have playables and just swing 3 every turn, making sure it eats some of the damage, while also not going to take too much ourselves. Which is why like I emphasize like torching defensively here, just because like you don't want to eat too much damage. Because since you're crashing into their board, that you're giving them an extra soul for them to crash with too. So at that point, we just got to make sure like just a lot of micromanaging here, making sure that your deck has enough for the follow-up turn where they just swing in for the extra soul. Also trying to micromanage to see where we can try to push a little more once we hit level 3, and also it's just a lot of little micromanaging. It just makes it a little bit, maybe not a little bit, but makes it very difficult to play the game, at least against this matchup.
Yeah, but going kind of into this level 2 turn, like obviously you've chosen not to throw any torches into memory quite yet because you still want to get maximum value out of these things while you still can, but
right, so I always have this thing like when I torch, I also have to account how many climaxes left in the deck, and also consider the ratio to climaxes to clean cards in there as well. So that's why I was a little hesitant in torching here, just cause like I might have milled out a little too many climaxes, too many cards I need. Those clean cards could have been damaged. It could have been clean stock, which could be fine. Which could have been fine, but also I did not want to trigger any pants here, just for the obvious play that I did not want to just have one climax out, and just
Eat damage out of nowhere on the follow up, yeah.
Yeah, and that unfortunately happens to me a lot. So
yeah.
So the little trauma there got me a little scared. Yeah, if I have to admit.
But going into this, you do get a lot of clean cards actually off the top. So I think you have probably like one climax among those 4 cards. I'm guessing is what you're thinking about.
I believe so. There was one more climax among them, which I was milling it off. So because at that point, then if I saw more, if I would have seen more, either seen the last climax in there or none at all, I would have just kept going.
But for now, just go ahead and go in. You win the 1 lane, and then you just use your torch in that 1 lane to.
Yeah, we only needed that 1 lane to torch, which is why we only did 1 combo here. And everything else is just a dead lane. They're just a fodder lane, so we're just swinging for damage here.
And then, so in most matchups for the 6 standby 2 gate build, once they refresh, they start thinking about playing the your early play Stockular Ks. You got your early play Shirgane. Kaichou, what going into this turn, now that you've hit 2-4, what are you kind of thinking about, like, in terms of the tempo of the game? Are you just thinking about building clean stock now that you just bring up the other Miyuki and then calling it a day? Or are you thinking about healing here? What are kind of the lines that you've got going on this turn?
I just opted I think swing 3 pass here. My waiting room was already set up for the standby of the 3 Kaguya. I just need to pay out the climax at this point, and try to swing. There's not really much to do. I don't opt to play for Miyuki clock kick in mid game. From what I noticed is that if you try to play for it, it's like a little hard because your leveling guts are weird, and then a lot of the decks you don't have to play it until level 3 anyways. So that's why the new K clock kicker, just a normal 3 clock kicker, actually has on-play surge. I think just does more in terms of like level 3 game. Obviously, it's not as guaranteed as the Miyuki, but your leveling gets a little bit better, is what I've seen from the game so far. So at this point, it's just swing through pass, maybe trigger standby. If I trigger door, that's also fine too.
I mean, it's not like you're in any hurry to try and bring out level 3s, because neither of you are in any rush to try and finish the game at this point. It's like, in Jerry's case, you still do need to play 2 other events at the very least, considering you still do have that torch in your hand. And in Kaichou's case, you don't have like a really high amount of stock, so even if you do end up ripping out a bunch of early plays or stand by a bunch of level 3s, it's not super value for either of you to try and force anything at this point in the game. It's nice, slow, good tempo. Oh, get this torch value. So I believe you're going in with all 8 here, Jerry. You do get the draw ditch as well, so.
I do get the draw ditch. I do believe it came in 7, actually. I'm not too sure.
And then you do choose to set that one to memory. My guess is that you're thinking about you most likely hitting level 3 at this point, is what I imagine.
I do believe so. I do believe I do hit level 3 here. And this is where I was debating on whether... Yeah. Just reading that to him.
Little gate trigger, get the climax fixer just in case. Let's see. Okay. A little double cancel, but you are at 2-6, so you do have the option of...
Yeah. A little more room to work with. So, at the very least here, we can... I think here I opted to... I think we had to clock here, just because like, I need more cards. Also, like, there's still... only way I can beat that board is at level 3. So yeah, we...
And then, if I remember correctly, Kaguya gets power for the back row, so...
Yeah, she gets 1k per back row, so she becomes...
She gets 15 per back row.
Oh, 15 per back row, so she gets another 3k here, so... Oh.
It'll definitely break a couple of Miyukis if you need to, but...
Yeah. At this point, Rao is digging for other events now.
Try and finish up the last of the events before you have to go into your level 3 combo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the one good thing about the pants deck is that the deck speed is really fast, because you have the Hestia, which can grab you the torch from dig 4 cards, which maybe you can grab your Hestia again, and then you brainstorm. Like the deck speed is insane with this deck, similar to like Damachi. That's like the one nice thing if you like cancel a lot of climaxes, you can just reset your deck super easily in the same turn.
And then...
Yeah, unfortunately, we revealed the climaxes, so we get no cards.
We get a brainstorm, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've just paid 1 card to send a card to memory.
Yep, that is why that event is one of the sad ones.
A bit more suspect because it doesn't do anything once you miss, but you do get a little bit of power relevant in other matchups, I imagine. Ooh, should have brainstormed there.
I'm interested how you saw climax, you didn't brainstorm.
That's a good question as well.
Your thoughts on it?
That is also a good question.
Oh no.
Question.
We'll cut it out. We'll cut it out.
You know, a little bit of the brain turn to cheese there in the mid game because
yeah, it was getting late, you know.
You know, one of the other cards that you did get to add the new early play Kaguya, the one with the similar profile to the Mari, the send 1, look 3 the stock ad.
Yeah, the Marine profile.
It's a pretty solid card in this matchup as well because it does help you kind of... It sort of pays back the lost value that you didn't get from playing the sword event, so just get a little bit of mill, and then you can choose to send one of your Kaguyas in order to get that Marine profile off. Pretty sick. Let's see.
Yeah, and the brainstorm at the
very end. Oh, you still do hit 1, so
yeah, got 1.
Yeah, you're just filling up your waiting room at this point, right? So you can hit the 1, get more cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see.
Yeah, so the trade-off here is if you want to contest my board, you have to play a 3-2 the final row.
Yeah.
And then if you have to play a 3-2, that means on the cross turn you won't have the 3-2 back because I'm going to kill it. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's like the trade-off.
That is the trade-off here.
It's a bit of an awkward position, yeah.
Yeah. I think in this case here, I just opted to see if I could just grab cards at this point.
Yeah. The thing is, the 3-2 Kaguya with the modding strike is the best card here, because it has an encore, and you're actually 500 or 1,000, I guess, because you have a sword. 1,000 power bigger. So then you can just kill one, and I kill it back, and then you just encore back. It's like super nice, and you can dig the more cards to the deck. It's one stock,
Yeah.
super efficient.
For sure. It would have been a lot more efficient if I actually hit the brainstem off before torching. That way we had at least one extra card in hand to encore.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah,
opted for just a 3 swing here.
get a little bit of chip here. I mean, if you get Kaichou to level 3 here, then it's not too bad.
Yeah, opted for the no twin drive because it's a climax. I like it.
Lets you know. But, I mean, at this point, it's pretty simple stuff between both of your decks. At this point, for Jerry, you're just hoping to live this turn and then try and rip Kaguya plus the Musashi event on top of the Kaguya, so then...
Yeah, we were holding the Musashi event in hand. We're just waiting, just hoping to see if we can actually eat the damage first, just to secure the win here.
And then, in the case of Kaichou, you don't really need to do too much, so you can just play this level 3 pretty slow. Maybe just heal down once.
Because I don't have the climax, so there's no point playing for or playing Kaguya or playing combo. So I just swing 3.
Yep.
Healing down to 3-0. So I think I'm still pretty compressed.
Also, doesn't, considering that you're gonna maintain this board until realistically next turn either way, so you don't have any reason to force the issue at this point. It's like he either takes damage or he's gonna cancel, at which point it doesn't matter too much for you.
Yeah.
But you know, you'll be going into level 3 with, it looks like 2, 4, 6 with 10 stock, it looks like, if I counted that correctly. So you will.
9. But yeah.
But you know, having the luxury of being able to choose how you want to close out the game is still we take those.
Yeah, the 6-2 deck doesn't rely on the door finisher. You just win from just raw stat to playing standby. The door is like nice, and then yeah, it's kind of just like you sit a 2, maybe kill your opponent. They take some burn ones if you hit an early standby in Kaguya. That's basically the game plan. Because you only have 2 doors, so you're not gonna be able to consistently get the door in your hand.
And then, like, I can't imagine how scary it is, because Jerry, if I remember correctly, all 7 are in your waiting room. I think you might have one in your hand.
I did have one in my hand. I think I did have one in my hand at this point. There was one left in deck, and so I should be refreshing with 6 if I don't cancel off the top here. But yeah, this was a pretty scary position, just because that 3-0 is like he can definitely kill me here if
I'm swing 3-3-3, so
yeah.
2 just needs to stick for lethal.
Yeah, 2 just does need to stick. So at this point, I was just gambling to see, like, I was just gambling on the amount of climax that we had left in waiting room, opposed to all the clean cards are currently outside the waiting room in deck right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Kaichou, you do choose to play over one of your 2/2s here. It looks like
I need to heal down, because healing 3-0 is just the best option here. Get some top checks, make sure my traders are clean. I think I saw 1 climax, or it might be 2 clean cards. But either way, it's like fine. Just make sure I don't see 2 climax on top. That would have been a tragedy.
At which point, you have bigger problems to deal with.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of what card to play over here. I need Hayasaka for next turn. I don't want to field the Kaguya in the front row, just because I want to have it. That was the idea. So I just play over the 1/1. Then just swing.
I mean, you don't really need your level assist any day soon, so kind of just doesn't do too much while you don't have Hayasaka in your hand. Okay, nice little cancel off the top. So there's your 7.
7 there. Yeah, so put me a little more comfortable position. Better chance of canceling. Here.
Let's see. So in your hand right now, you said you had a pants, you had the Musashi event. Do you happen to remember what other cards were in your hand?
I do believe I had.
Oh, record scratch.
Well, record scratch.
The game just ends there, I guess.
Yeah, I think I did. I think I did at least have 2 combos here. I think I did have other the level 3 combo there. I think I had 2 copies in hand, this Musashi and the pants as well. So I did remember I was ready for a combo turn for that turn, but unfortunately, yeah, we just 8-7. Well, could have 8 more.
Yeah, but it's like it's still pretty good though, considering how consistent. Once you get the events in memory, the rest of your deck is pretty easy to sculpt around, because then all you need to do is like scrounge for ideally 1 Musashi, maybe 2 copies of Kaguya, and then plus whatever else you can rustle together. So your finishing turns can be pretty explosive, considering that you don't really need to start with too much stuff, because like you said, it's in theory it's a free burn 3 at the cost of you having to set up 4 events.
Yeah. But it's just the fact that it makes your early game a little bit more of a hassle, just because that you have to dedicate 3 stock and 3 cards, just to 3 cards to go to memory, just 3 stock to play those cards, which is kind of a bit of an inconvenience. But which is why I like canceling a little bit more earlier game, which means that you have a little bit more leg room, so that way you can actually rebuild your resources, which is why I like to emphasize this a lot, and especially for this deck, is torching defensively is very important here, just so you can actually build resources for your level 3 game.
Yep. And then Kaichou, tried and true, didn't have to. It's Kaguya and killing people without having to actually kill them for reals. Bit of a classic.
Yep, consistent stand by door. Nothing too much about it. This is one of the decks that was cognizant, because I knew the deck was already good. So it's like I always say, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yep. And going in now, Kaichou's leading 2-1. And so stick around for game 4, guys. Until then, we'll see you around.